Okay, so until more people will join, I just want to say that you will have the option to chat. The microphone option is closed, so if you have any questions regarding anything that I'm showing on the screen, just let me know in the chat and I happily respond your questions. Let me start sharing. Let me see. Window. Okay, so if you can say in the chat, if you can see my screen, you should see like a Chrome tab with the Atlassian Community event. And yes, we can. Okay, great. Okay, so I will start. Eventually, if other people will join, they can watch and ask questions. But as a disclaimer, before I start with this course today, this session will be recorded. So in case you cannot stay for the entire course, you'll find this session recorded on YouTube in the following days, and you can watch that offline. So that will not be an issue. So let me present myself. I'm Andrei, aka void.admin on YouTube. So this is actually my first Atlassian Community event as a virtual one. And I thought that maybe it's a good introduction to just have a course for the correlation between JIRA assets and Scriptrunner in a JSM project. So this is what we are talking about today. I will try to show like a nice use case scenario where you can make use of this implementation that I'm showing you. And of course, I cannot just provide, like I cannot implement something in 1 hour. So I did something offline. I prepared something for you, and I'll just be explaining and going through the flow with the project scripts and the creation of this issue that I have, or not issue, with the latest changes from Atlassian. I guess we'll have task, or what the hell they wanted to rename it, but that's fine. I guess issue was like pretty confusing for people when they use JIRA for the first time. So I guess that's a good thing for the future of Atlassian and JIRA users. Okay, so I'll go forward with the course. So for this one, I don't know how many people are like the knowledge of many people around this today call for this course. So I will say in my mind that everyone is a beginner, because maybe someone is a beginner with Scriptrunner, maybe someone is beginner with GSM projects. So I'll go further and just explain as much as I can for people to understand everything that I did here, right? So for someone that is not familiar, assets comes with the installation of JIRA Service Management. So basically, assets are a centralized database in the UI, right, where you can, I don't know, add users, applications, hardware, right? So today, I've built like an example of a DB, like with some use cases. I have some computers here, I have some applications, I have some employees, right? But the core thing here is to make use of Scriptrunner and assets, which are these objects in your GSM project, in order to create, I don't know, like issues. And on top of that issue, you can add automations and so on, right? So if someone, by the way, if someone has a question, doesn't understand something, please make sure you add the question in the chat and I can happily respond. I don't know if this will be like a full hour course, but I will just leave. I will try to do my best to finish early in case people have questions at the end and they don't want to ask in the middle of the course, right? So what I have here, like I have a service desk project. Just wait a second. I think it's too hot in my room. 1 second. Okay, so I need to take the hoodie off. Okay, now I'm ready. Okay, so what I have here, I have a service desk project that I created. It's a basic one, which I used the default settings. But on top of this, what is important here is I created a new customer request type, which we'll be using this example today, right? Because what I wanted to build here and what I've built a flow with 2 rows of approval for an application access, right? So think of someone like a user, like you want access to an application, and you have a front end customer request that you will be opening. And based on that, everything to be happening automatically within the GSM project and JIRA assets that you have, right? So as I showed you in the beginning, here I've built some, like I have like 2 applications, right? Which is like a code editor, which has the status free because basically you're not paying it for it. And the video editor, which is with the status licensed, but you actually need to pay for it because you have a license, right? So that license needs to be assigned to your user, etc., right? So because we have this centralized database here with the assets from JIRA, we can make linkage between them, right? So let's say that you want to find out what employees or what computer will have this video editor installed on that PC, right? Because, for example, if I want the video editor, I will just create the issue, right? The issue will need to be approved, right, by someone. I just put in my example a manager and an owner of this video editor, but there is this case where the code editor is free, right? So then you'll just need like the approval from your manager, and they will approve it, and you'll get this installed on your PC, right? So we want to do everything automatically. So basically the agent that will provide you the license, like in my case, I don't have this provision of the license automatically because I presume that the agent that will get your ticket, when it's in progress, they'll do the magic and they will add your license in another tool or something like that. But the automatization that I wanted to make is to have automatically goes to manager approval, then it will go automatically into owner approval, which is the application owner after the manager will approve it, and then it will go in waiting for support, ready for the agent to pick up that ticket. You can automate. You can automate this part from waiting to support to in progress, where you provision and access automatically. But yeah, that's other stuff that maybe we'll discuss in a future course. But for this, I just presume for this course that this is manual work from the agent. But there is also the automation involving when this ticket is closed, right? So when the agent will close this and it will go into resolved, then automatically will link everything that was requested, right? So if the user requested the video editor, which is licensed, then it will go into line manager approval. We'll do some checks when the line manager will when line manager will approve it, and then it will go into the secondary approval. After the secondary approval, it goes to the agent. The agent will add into other tools that license, and then when the agent will click into the resolved status transition, then we'll link everything together. So basically, we'll link the employee that requested this application with the software license, if this exists, and it will also link the application to the computer of that user, right? So what I've built here are just like complete examples. I have like 4 computers here because this is like usual default scheme for a company. Like you want to see all the servers, you want to see all the computers, mobile phones, you want to see application and employees, right? So you have everything centralized in this place, and making use of a GSM project when users will request access to application, to a software or something like that, you can make use of Scriptrunner exactly to make this linkage, because this is down. You can use the built-in post function from assets to, I don't know, just add the manager, which I did. But for the rest of the stuff where you can actually need to fetch data from the scheme itself and from the objects, you will need to use Scriptrunner. So that's why I wanted to make this course with the correlation between these two, because these two will have a powerful impact if you want to build like automated thing with in your GSM project, right? So I'll go one by one here, just for you to understand how I've built these examples. So I have like 4 desktop computers here, Each one has a name, serial number, model, right? Basically, these are the same, but have like different name and different serial numbers. As I said, I have two applications. For this example, for this course, there is a code editor, which is free. And with this code editor used in the ticket, it will require only the manager approval. If the user will try to request the video editor, which is licensed, then it will need 2 rows of approval in order to get through. And the software license, as I said, it's an individual object which is linked to the application. So you can see when I clicked on the software license on the inbound reference here on the right, I can see applications. So I can see to which application this software license is linked, right? So in my mind, this example is for a premium license for multiple users, right? These are not individual license, right? Let's say that you have a license for 200 users and you can add 200 users in this license. So this is what the example that I took, and I created manually. So everything that you can see here is created manually. Usually maybe you have imports from different sources that you import into JIRA, and then you will have the objects there, right? So maybe you also do some linkage there on that side. So, and besides this, I have this organization where I have 4 employees. This is like me, user 1. We have a team manager, which will manage every one of these people, right? So if you can see in my object here, I have a name, I have a role, which is created separately as a linkage because it's a different object. I have the JIRA user, right? So this attribute JIRA user is not another object. It's actually a JIRA user. So if we go into this button here, attributes, we can see what is this JIRA user. You can see it's a user type. It's not an object. So, and we will make use of this. You will see when I explain more on the workflow level why this is important, because you can make use of the built-in from the post function for insight, which is asset, which was X insight. We have active true, we have the office, which is also another object, and we have manager, right? So this is also a JIRA user. So everything here is connected. User 1 also has the same team manager. Team manager, in my example, doesn't have a manager, but in fact, this will also have a manager. And we have the app owner, because I wanted to have like a different user that will be the app owner for the licensed application, which is the video editor, right? So, and the roles is just basically for examples here, we'll not make use of it, right? So, what I need to understand is that in this example, we'll make use of the employees object type. We'll make use of application, software license, and computers, right? So we have 4 objects which we want to connect with each other and link after the ticket has been resolved, right? So I don't know if I need to explain also, like I'm pretty sure like most of you know exactly how a JSM project is looking. Like it's basically a service desk where you have like a customer portal front, right, where you can just create the ticket. After the ticket has been created, you'll get into the back end of the project where the agents will have access to resolve your ticket, right? So okay, so let me see where I can start so you can see the prerequisite. So one important prerequisite for today's course, it's actually like a Scriptrunner utils class that was created by OG on the Atlassian community. It's about Peter, right? So I don't know how many of you used the insight classes, but it's actually a nightmare, right? So if you want to fetch, for example, let's say that on the application or on the video editor, right? So you select this object in your ticket, and from that ticket, you want to great class from Peter. Yeah, Peter is amazing, man. Like it saved the time. Like a lot of developers like save time with this class. So yeah, shout out to Peter. I will actually let me link from now so I don't forget. So here you can see Peter Bitbucket. It's a public it's a public place where he has all of this stuff. But we want to make sure that we use this exact insightutils.groovy class for this course, because why this is important, like previously, before finding out about this class, because he created like 3 or 4 years ago, this one, like you needed a lot of lines of code to write in order to fetch one single object from Insight, right, which is asset, from asset. So using his class, you can easily fetch one object and then fetch any attribute that you want. And you cannot, you don't have only the option to fetch. You also have the option to update an attribute. You want maybe to move that object. You see, you have also this, this more drop down where you have move, right? So there is also the option to move an object from one object type to another, right? He has covered a lot of situations here. So this is what I want you to do if you want to use this, to make use of this example from this course. You want to take this Insight Utils. Don't worry, this is like a public place where Peter said that anyone can use this class, right? So you can make use of this. You just copy this at like 1,000 lines of code, I think. Yeah, it's 1,072. So basically with this, I'll show you where you need to store it. So you just need to go into your script features, like where you can see built-in scripts, job listeners, and you have this tab which is called script editor. And here in this script editor, you just need to create you need to create this file in some particular folders, right? So my example was to create like com, because all the classes in Scriptrunner will have this com, right? So it was easier for me to actually fetch this class. So I have a folder called com. I have a folder called Scriptrunner because it's a class from util class from Scriptrunner. I also have the utils, right? So I know that I have utils here. Maybe beneath Scriptrunner, you also have workflows. You also have listeners that you can call from a file from the listeners or behaviors. I don't know. So I call this utils, and inside this utils, I've created this file. So you have these buttons here when you have the script editor, right? So with you can create a file, a folder using this one, the first one, which looks like a folder in Windows. And we have the second one, which is add a file. So this file will be used by you after you paste the code, right? As I did here, right? So inside this utils folder, I created a file called insightutils.groovy. And if you want to see how this is, you just press one, a new window will appear, and you just basically need to type the name of the file. You don't need to type .groovy, right? You just need to type the name, and the .groovy will eventually be added afterwards after you click add button. So now you just copy this one in your JIRA environment, and as you can see, I copied everything. And if we scroll down a bit in this code, you'll see a lot of things that you can use in your project, right? So you have get object by name, right? So he built this thing for you to be, so basically you'll just write 1 or 2 lines of code to fetch an attribute from an object type from assets instead of writing 50 or 100 lines, right? Because like I've also built my own class previously, since like before I knew about this class, I built it myself, right? So my code was like with 50 lines more, and as soon as I started to use Peter class, util class, I just write 1-2 lines of code and it's done. Like it's so simple to use it if you are using this util class. So shout out to him. And let me scroll a bit down, and you see we have find objects, we have get all attributes as key value pairs, right? So you have multiple stuff here that you can make use in your JSM project, in your scripts. And I think I have like 2-3 examples here today. So let me show you. So this is like a prerequisite for everything that I'm showing you right now here with this example, because we'll be using this util class to call and fetch objects from assets in our JSM project, right? So I'll go down to this workflow here. So this is the workflow that is connected with the application access request, because this is the customer request type that I'll be using for this whole automation. And if we click edit here, and if we click on create issue, because this is transition that goes into the create, I guess everyone knows this. So here, what we have multiple post functions, right? So create issue originally is these are the default ones: set status, the database, and issue created event, right? But what we want to make sure is that not always, like, we don't need always to create like a Scriptrunner script, right? Or you just add automation. Like, you also need to make use of the built-in stuff that we already have from JIRA, right? So I've made use of these built-in post functions, which are 2 of number, right? Because with these two, I'm adding the manager as the approval in the workflow, right? So if I'm going back, the manager approval, if I click on the status, and for the approval, you just click configure, and here you can see the configuration for this approval. So here we have the manager, which is a user picker field. And then we have, okay, consider approval after all approvals, because this is like a single user. It's not a multiple user picker field. If you had multiple users, then this will not be grayed out. So you can put like 1 or 2 approvals, but this is a single one. And we have the transition: when approved, it goes into approved. Transition when declined is canceled, right? So this is pretty basic. For the owner, on the other hand, we have a different stuff. We have, again, a user picker field, which is the owner. Again, a single select goes into waiting for support and cancel, right? So it will go like a waterfall here. Manager approves, owner approves, and it will go afterwards, right? So in this create issue transition, we have this object schema, which is basically, this is based on AQL. So if you don't know what AQL is, it's the same as JQL. I'm pretty sure that everyone is familiar with the JQL. You have the JQL where you can search issues inside your JIRA based on custom fields, right? You can put project, you can put custom fields here, system fields, and you just basically narrow down the filter in order for you to get to that search result, right? The same with assets. If we go here and we click for search for objects, here you'll have the same search bar here. It's not called JQL, it's called AQL search. And here it's like kind of similar, but not. We have, like, if you want to type object type, which is the object type, is there an equivalent that works on cloud? I honestly cannot ask. I know that assets is available on cloud, but I don't know exactly if it's the same as a data center, right? So this course is intended only for data center, but the equivalent will be the same asset, because I'm pretty sure they have assets also on cloud, but I actually don't know if it comes individually or with JSM installed. I actually don't know this stuff for the cloud version, but I guess I get it. I am 100% sure that asset is found in cloud, but for example, I know that if you want to import from AWS, they don't have this feature. It only exists on data center, but they actually have, like, you can create objects in cloud, but I don't actually know with what license it comes from, right, on cloud. I don't know if it's separate or a built-in from GSM as we have on data center. But I can search it offline and I can answer to your question afterwards. Maybe I can put it in the YouTube video as a response question. Okay, so I'll continue with this object type. It's basically as you are searching as issue type, right? So object type could be, you see, application, business service, computers. So these object types are these ones, right? So I can search object type equals application. And if I hit search, you'll see that I found like 2 results with this, right? We have the code editor and we have the video editor. Each one has a key, right? So we are using this AQL. And I just want to ask again about your question. Did you sorry, did you, your question was regarding the post function or the assets? Like, I want to make sure that I answered the question correctly. Because I think I was speaking about these post functions, which are built in, and you asked if there is equivalent for that works on cloud or for the asset. I don't know. So let me show you how these built-in AQLs are working, like post functions, which is based on AQL. So this post function will search with an AQL in the background. I was thinking from the utils package point of view. Yeah, the thing is that this package from Peter is specifically for data center. I don't think this will work for cloud version, honestly. Yeah, I don't think it will work. Yeah, Scriptrunner is completely different. Yeah, you're right, Will. Like, it will actually, like, if you see a script from data center and a script from cloud, it's totally different how you fetch custom fields, how you fetch values. So I'm pretty sure the classes and the variables that you have on cloud are like super different. So this will not work. Of course, it will not work, but yeah, it will not. This exact utils will not work. Maybe there are utils for cloud. I actually don't know, right? So okay. So let me continue. So this post function is based on AQL. So what we'll do in the background, we'll basically fetch the object schema, because you can have multiple object schema in your assets. And it's the void DB. This is what we are looking for. We have object type employee, right? Because we are looking for the employee object. And the next one is it will look for the attribute JIRA user in the reporter, right? So basically, what we want to do with this post function is to fetch the reporter, which is me, and to add that reporter object, which is the from employees, into the ticket. So we'll have a traceability. When I'm going into the void.admin object for employees and I see related JIRA issues, I can see that issue here. So I can know, okay, let me see, what tickets this user created, right? So you can see that ticket based on this one. So we see the target custom field is user object, which is the custom field found on the screen of the issue, right? So I will create an example just in a second so you can see exactly how this is triggered. And the next line, which is again a post function from a built-in functionality from the insight from asset, is to fetch an attribute from a selected object that is found in a ticket, which is the employee one that we are fetching. And we get the source custom field, which is user object, because in this asset custom field from the issue, we copied that object from assets, and we have object type attribute name. We'll take the manager. So for my void.admin object, we'll take where it is manager, right? So we'll take the manager, and then we'll attach that manager into target custom field, because this will incentivize the manager, my manager, right? That it's mentioned here in this object into the ticket, so they can approve that ticket. So with the manager side, we can use the built-in AQL. It's perfectly fine. But for the owner, you'll see that we are using a Scriptrunner script here. So the next script that I used is to add the owner of the application that we are selecting, right? So when I'm going here into the application access request, I have two fields, right? Access justification, this is like the description. But I have this asset custom field that I can select. So I have a code editor and a video editor, right? So if I'm selecting the video editor, then in the background, I need to do some checks to see if this application that I'm selecting it has an owner. If it has an owner, then we need to fetch that owner and add that owner in the ticket. So we will have someone as approval in the second phase of the approval for this access request. So if we are going into the script, this will basically fetch the owner and will put it in the ticket. So I'll try to explain as best I can using as a, let's say, a beginner-friendly wording here. So the most important stuff here, as I said, is the insight utils, because this is the one that will make your life easier to fetch this information in the ticket, right? So you see here that besides the normal like custom field manager component accessor class, I've also imported my own class, which is from Peter, that I have added in the script editor. So you can do this. You can write your own classes in the script editor, and you can call them out in the import, right? So I have import com.scriptrunner.utils, which are the folders, right? Com scriptrunner utils, which are the folders. And then I put a dot and I just say insight utils, because this is the file that we want to fetch information from, right? So basically with this, you can fetch that class that it's in script editor and you can make use of it. Make sure you do this, because this is like a prerequisite for your scripts to work. In the next part, this is like a logger that I like to use to set the level on info, and also to add a logger. So it's easier for me when I see the logs that I'm writing in the script in the logs, and I know which script is on. This is not important. This is something that I do, but you feel free to use this. The next one is pretty self-explanatory. We just basically go into the custom field manager in the component accessors, because we'll need to fetch custom fields values in this script. And the next one is the one that I like. It is the happy version of getting a customer request type. I don't know how many of you are using happy from Scriptrunner, which is like a simplified version of variables that you can call in your script. So basically, you just call issues. You have this variable get by key, and I got issue.key to string, because this is actually a string in this functionality. And you also get request type. You just put a null exception to make sure that that request type exists, and you don't have an error on the script that a null point exception, and you get name. And this is how you use the happy feature from Scriptrunner to get the customer request type name with only one line. I like it a lot, because it's only one line. You don't need to write like a bunch of stuff here in order to get the customer request type name. So the next part is setting a if statement. Why I added this if statement is because let's say that you want to use a single workflow for multiple customer request types, right? So let's say that for application request type, you want to have this automation, but you have another request type that you want to use another automation, but you want to make use of the same approval, right? Like the approvals should also be the manager, also the app owner or something like that, right? So it's better for you to use a condition on this and just call the customer request type name. If that ticket has the customer request type name, then the script will read into the next lines, because like we want to make sure that we don't want like the CPU it's not like a huge deal with the CPU, but there is no need for the script to write into the to fetch the custom field values and everything else if we actually don't need it, right? So I like to put like a condition first of all. So we have the condition here, and if the customer request type is application access request, then it will fire it. So the next lines are basically getting the values from the application. We just call the custom field objects by name. From the issue itself, we get the custom field values, and we put here actually the custom field that it was defined on line 23. I hope it's not so. Maybe I should zoom in a bit. I don't know if it's really. Okay, maybe I can zoom in a bit. Maybe it's not so visible, but on my screen I can see it, but I don't know how the tool it will show it. So going furthermore, we're also going into the asset part here. So as you can see, the comment custom field asset value will always contain the name and the object key. So this is an interesting part, right? So if I'm copying this and going into let me use this one. If I go in the console, I will show you how this will look when you fetch. I think I already have it, right? But I need to create a ticket. Let me create a ticket just fast as I can. and just show you something. So I create a test issue because I want to show you how the value is fetched when you actually fetch the value from the ticket itself. So I'm on the script editor. Let me put here the ticket, and we have basically the same thing here. Let me see. No, I don't have. It's not the same script. Let me take this and make sure that I paste it here, because I want you to see exactly how this will look. So I have this one. So if I run, let me exactly log here the application value, so you can see exactly how it is displayed. So if I run this, wait, let me let me actually comment this, because we don't want to do any updates. Forgot about that. Logger for class. What do you want from me? Oh, I know what you want from me. Sorry for this. And just add this. I forgot about the logger. Stupid. Okay, so let me run this again. Yeah, things happen. So you can see here, like the application value that is found in the ticket. Let me, where is this ticket, man? I think in the queue, maybe it is. Yeah. So as you can see, this is the application, which is a custom field asset type of field. So if you want to get the direct value of that, you cannot, like, you'll get like a list, which is like object type bin list in the background for assets, and you have the name, which is video editor, but you also have the key. And in order to fetch the values furthermore, we need only the key. So you will find something interesting in this script, because we need to get exactly the key and not the name dot plus key, because this is what this exact application value will return. So we need to use the empty string to be able to fetch the key, right? So previously I've used like other methods. If you have different methods, that's fine. But this method was found by one of my colleagues, which is like great method, because you just need only 2 lines to fetch that key, right? So first of all, you just define a variable which is an empty string. So you have the empty string, and then you'll have a join, which is like the application value, because this is a list, right? You can go with .each, which is like a for in Groovy, right? So you have the list here that you see it here, video editor. This is a list. So you go in this list, and for each one, but there is only one, right, in the list. So we don't care for others, right? We have only one in the list. So we take for each one, and here in this parenthesis, we have the application key, and we use this plus equals operator to only add the key to that empty string, right? I also like in my scripts to also comment everything, so everyone will understand. So in mathematics, like this is called an enhanced assignment. So basically, this application key plus equals it is basically the object itself from the list, from the console, you see, from this list. It is actually the object, and you get the object key from that object. So you have an empty string, and you just add that key, and that is the result. So here we have application object equals with application, not application object, sorry. We have the application key equals with the same thing, application key plus the object key. So you see a small explanation here. A plus equals 2 is same as A equals A plus 2. So you can understand this mathematically, but it's a nice way to use this operator. So what we'll do, we'll use an empty string, and we'll just add this object key. So in the console, it'll look something like this. Let me uncomment this part. And if we are using, oh, what did I do? Okay, so if we are using, log.warn, and we are logging this application key, which is, oh, can I do it? Okay, application key. And now if we run it, we'll see that from this list, we fetch only the key because we only need the key from the object in order to get the object by key from using this insight utils in order to go further and just take the attribute, etc. Right? So now that we fetch only the key, we can go further, which is like great. We only needed like 3 lines of code to get that exact key from the object that is found in the ticket, right? So next is pretty simple. We are using from the insight util class, we are using this get object by key, and you just add the key as a string here, which is this application key that has the key, because using the next 29 line, we transform this empty string into the actual key. And from here, it's pretty simple. We need to fetch the owner value, because in the asset, this application has an owner, right? You see owner, it's actually like the owner, which is the object. This is not a user, right? So if I click on this, it's an actual object. So we need to fetch that, right? So we are fetching this. So we get owner value from insight utils, and here we are getting object attribute values, which is divided from application object, which we have the variable here at line 27. And here you just need to define the attribute as a string. And then you'll have the exact value of the owner here that you need to fetch, because we need actually the owner to inject that value in the ticket for the secondary approval. So here I also, again, in this part I have, let me go in this script because it's easier. So in this part from line 33 above, we are checking to see if that application that was selected in the ticket has an owner. Because if it doesn't have an owner, we actually don't need to fetch that value from the object itself, right? So if this has an owner, then we'll go further and we'll use the same logic. We need to get the owner key because we need a specific attribute from the owner itself. If we go into the owner here, we actually need this JIRA user that we need to inject into the ticket, because we want to make use of this for the secondary approval. So basically, this is the same method here. I will be frank that I did like work around here. Maybe there are like other methods here, but what I did, I just took the object by key, and then for the attribute, the owner object, I took the name, which is the name app owner right here. So then in the app owner, I just put it as a string to transform it as a string, because the app owner here, if you can see it, it's an object type. I don't want the object type. I just want the app owner name. Here is the thing for app owner. If I look into the user, it's basically the same, right? Like, where is the app owner? App owner. So the name of the object in asset is actually also the username, and we want to make use that username in the ticket. So it was easier in my case, right? And I just replaced this this parenthesis, because basically this is a list. So you'll have this name as a list, but we just put it as a string, and we just get rid of that that list. This is like a workaround that I did. Maybe it's not perfect, but it's working. So in cases where you have where the name, you can also, like, for example, you can convert into an application user if you don't have the owner name, because, for example, the name of the owner is the same as the username in JIRA. I can just update the issue without any transformation of the user into an application user. If you need to do this, you just have this line where you transform that user into application user using that username. And again, the next part is pretty simple. We are using this update thing from Hoppy. Again, if you used Hoppy, you're familiar with it. But basically, it's simple. You have the issue that you are doing the transition from, and you have dot update. So this is an interesting thing. If you look into the message here, it says that issue.update will trigger a new update. When working with multiple issue in a post function, use issue.set. I will say that issue.set will only work for the transition that are not create. When you are creating an issue on the specific create transition, which is exactly like a transition, it will not work to use issue.set. You need to use issue.update. Don't ask me why. This is what I discovered. I didn't have time to dig deep into it. I just use issue.update every time and it's working. And in this issue.update, you just put set custom field value. It's simple. You just give the name of the, how it's called, of the user field, and then as a string, and then you just put the variable that you define it. So for me, it's owner, which is the username of the user. Here, I also like to also put like a logger because I want to see, okay, there is the success message. The owner has been added into the issue key. Right, so with this, we have the exact parameters for you to see, how it's called, to see an example. You have seen an example on the screen, but I actually want to do it again. So we have here like a test again, test AC. Let's go like this. And when basically we'll create the video editor application request, and we press the create button. In the background for the create transition, we'll get trigger the part where it will add the manager to the field, and it will also fetch the owner. So here you see in this ticket, we have myself, which is the reporter. Based on this reporter, we fetch the user object from the asset. You see my object here, it's in the user object using the built-in AQL. You see that we also have a team manager, which is the manager that we fetched from this attribute using the built-in one. And we also have the application owner, which was the one fetched from this video editor attribute. So basically, this is how I built with this script and the built-in function on this create screen. So now that we have both, how it's called, both. I've lost my words. Oh God. So now that we have both approvals, we can go further with what I said in the beginning with the resolved part, right? So now we have the manager approval. Actually, let me do this switch user because you also want to see live that it's working. So I've opened the request in another tab. So now I'll use switch user, which is from Scriptrunner, and to switch to team manager. I switch to team manager, I run it, and now when I refresh this page, I am logged in as the team manager. I approve this request. So now you'll see that it goes into the owner approval because it was checked in the background that the application that was used is licensed, right? And that's why I'm going to this transition and to this workflow, sorry, because I did explain the create part, but I didn't explain the approved part. So the create part was adding manager as a user in the field and also adding the owner in the ticket. But this approved transition will actually check if the application used is licensed or not. So you'll see here what I'm talking about. So we have 10 more minutes, so I'll try to be fast as I can, right? So here we have actually a fast track transition post function. It's not a custom one. So based on the conditions here, we'll skip approval or not, because what I said in the beginning, if we have the code editor, which is the status free, then it will do anything. It will not go into the secondary approval, which is the app owner. It will go directly into waiting for support. So you can see here, this is basically the second script which is actually a fast track from Scriptrunner that it will check the license. So we'll make use of the same insight util class, which is a prerequisite for this course. And we are doing the same. We're getting the application value. We are setting up the empty string in order to find the attribute from that application. And as I did with the name, I also do this with the status because I want to check if the status is free. So if the status is free, I return true. If not, I return false, because the fast track post function will evaluate true to go with the action of the transition that you put in, right? So I put the action waiting for support. So when the status is free, it will return true and will fire this action, which is waiting for support. And in this way, we skip the secondary approval if the status of the application is free. But in our case, you see here, because we use the video editor is licensed. So then we just need also the owner approval. So now let me switch the user to owner approval. Let me see, owner approval, because I also want to approve from the owner perspective. I approve it, and now you see it goes into the waiting for support part. And here in the waiting for support part, let me take this ticket where it is. It's 16, right? Oh, where it is. Okay, so let me move it to 16 because I want to see the backend of the ticket. You see it's in waiting for support. And now if we go into the actual, you see in the post function that was triggered, that triggered this, we'll see that it triggered. Let me actually check this. I don't know if I logged. I think I didn't log here. That's why it doesn't show. Yeah, I didn't log if it's status true or not. So that's why you cannot see it. But if we check on the create screen, you'll see that it's logged. Yeah, I hope so. Okay, last re-execution, you see. Now we have a success, right? So owner app has been added to this one because we identified that the application has an owner, and that has been added to the ticket itself. So let me go further with the example that I have. So what I said in the beginning is that based on the workflow, we'll have an approval that will be approved by the manager. And the second approval will be the owner of the application that we have. It goes into this part, waiting for support, where the agent will pick up the tickets, right? So the agent will go now. It will start progress. I don't know if it'll do manual work or automatic work. It doesn't matter. But now when the agent will click on resolved transition, then we'll take this user object. We will link this license to the user, and we'll also add this video editor to the computer that it's used by this user, right? So now if I'm going into the resolved, the issue is resolved, right? We can search it, right? It's resolved. Now if we go into the asset, let me see, do I have the user? So if I go into the employees, you can see here at 3 October, so which is 77:54. So it's the same hour that I have. The software license has been added to this, right? So what we did, we fetched the license from this video editor, and we added this license to the user itself. So now when you go into the software license, you can see also that it's linked beside an application. It's also linked to an employee. So you can see the employee is shown here. And what I said is that we'll also get the application video editor, and we just add the computer. So you can see here that the computer has been added at the same time frame when the ticket was transitioned. So you can see here just now. Okay, thank you. Let me get the hour exactly. I should have shown it previously with 1 minute ago. We have, why it's showing like 1 minute ago? That's so odd. Activity. Yeah, it's 1 minute ago, but it's not showing. Oh, okay. So let me go back. So what I did, I just added also the computer. Where is this video editor present on? So if we go into the computers now and we search for my computer, which is this one, you can see there is a link to this application, which is the video editor, right? So what I did here in order to achieve this is, again, with this script is more complex than the others because it will take multiple things from multiple objects, and based on conditions, it will add and link those objects based on attributes, right? So again, we'll make use of the insight utils class, which is the most important here. Again, we have a custom request type because we need to check this. And here you see, we go into the application and we also go into the user object. So these are these two from the ticket, application and user object. And here, again, we are using the same method of the empty string to get the key and so on. Sorry. And with this part, we need to fetch the computer's old value. So one thing that I didn't show you is that this computer, where is this? This computer attribute is a multiple one, right? So here, if you want to edit, you should be able to add new computers, right? So in the script, we need to check if the object already has a computer, right? So that's why we need to fetch the old value, right? So we get the application computer old value, which is the value that already existing with that will exist before we are adding ourselves, not ourselves, is the user computer to that object. So here we get the key, as I said, we get the status because we need the status, and also we get the computer old value, which is from the application object. Let me put it like this. So it's basically the computer here. So we need to take this value before we are updating that value. And now we get the employee. So basically we go further in order to find the computer that is linked to that specific employee, and so on and so forth. We are doing some checks or the if the application computer value is there, then we are adding that employee computer to the existing list so we don't overwrite it, right? And we'll have a logger info message special one. And if else, which is like if the object doesn't have any attribute value in the computer, then we'll just add a computer and we'll have a different message. Has been updated with the following computer. And here we have the list that was updated with the computer that we already had. I hope it's not like super much information. And as I said, I will just post these scripts on my GitHub, so you can go offline and just read into that and maybe understand more. Of course, I will be present in the YouTube channel, in the Discord, if you have any questions, but I don't want to rush these things. We have like 5 more minutes if we take in consideration that I started 5 minutes later. And what I did afterwards is to check if the status is licensed, right? Because we also have the free application, which doesn't have a license. So then we don't need to add this license to the user. Where is this? Right. If we are requesting for the code editor, then we don't need a license. So you just add to the computer the application, but because there is no license, we don't need any license to be added to the employee object, right? So this is the part that will link everything together in the asset objects itself. Like I didn't know that it will take 1 hour. I'm sorry for that. Maybe we don't have time today for the Q&A session, but let me show you how this is working when you are requesting for the free one. So we are just choosing code editor. We're just providing here thanks. This was very insightful, no pun intended. Yeah, thanks a lot. X inside, because now it's called assets. Yeah, true. So we have the ticket created with application access request. So you can see that this ticket now only has team manager. It doesn't have an owner because this doesn't have an owner. So we are making these checks in the background in the script, so we don't need to add an owner. So now if we are going, let me just switch to another user so I can approve it so you can see the flow. If you just have more time to stay for one more test here. So what we need manager. Okay, so if we run it and now there is this ticket, we approve it and you will see that it will skip approval. You see now it's in status waiting for support. 1 second, let me come back to this session, and if I refresh the ticket, you see that it's in waiting for support because it skipped, you see owner approval, and then it skipped to waiting for support because this code editor, it's basically free. And now let me actually go in progress and show the full flow, right? So now if we are clicking resolve, let me show you in the assets. You see code editor doesn't have any computers, but when I click resolved and the ticket is resolved, and if I refresh the assets, you see the computer was added here in this code editor, and we know that if we go into the computer, we will see that we have two applications that are linked to this computer, which is the code editor and video editor. And this is how you centralize this automatically. Yeah, I don't want to keep you guys any longer here. I think I've covered everything as I could, and we have 2 minutes overtime. I'm sorry for that. But I will centralize all this recording that I have for this course and just post it on YouTube if you want to see it again in the offline time. And I also post all the scripts necessary in my GitHub. You can paste them, use them, and you can transform them however you want. I hope this session has been, like, I don't know, helpful for you guys. And if you are still here, thank you, Andrei, no problem. If you are still here, I just want to say that today was the first time we had an event for the Cluj chapter, but I want to say that in January, we'll have an on-site event in Cluj for whoever wants to join on that on-site event. And I don't want to spoil this, but we might have Scriptrunner on that event, so Adaptavist will be present there. But that's this. Only you guys know of this because you stayed late in this course. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this session. I wish you a lovely day ahead. Great night, great evening. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Andrei here, aka void.admin. And until next time, I wish you very well, and thanks a lot for staying here with me. Okay, guys, see ya. Bye-bye.